is the Los Angeles Wilshire Grand Redevelopment Project. This project is going to be a 70-story tower downtown Los Angeles. I think the last tower that was built downtown Los Angeles was probably 15 years ago, maybe 20 years ago. So it's a big deal. It's approximately a $1 billion project with a hotel, office, and conference program. It's a project with pretty high visibility downtown, and hopefully it might end up the highest tower, but we can say for sure yet. So again, we start with our Gantt chart schedule, and our the owner's requirement is to provide a CPM schedule. So we start with that schedule, but the next step we did, going back to our process, is to have a meeting and create a content plan. So just by what we learned on the San Diego Central Library project, we started applying it on this project right away. And instead of having just someone build a model and someone link a schedule and then have questions later, we start with the questions first, so that the outcome is the right outcome first time around. And so you can see our superintendents again, Kim Long, Michael Martisano. These are the guys who are going to build this tower. So they have already figured out how they're going to build it. It's in their head. The challenge is how are we getting that information out to the masses so that everybody understands what's in Michael's head and how he envisions this tower to be built. So again, this is the content plan that we created. And we took basically the Gantt chart, exported into Excel. I know it's not very sophisticated, but it generated a discussion between the superintendent, our engineer, and the scheduling manager who was creating the schedule about the locations and about understanding which activities are linked to what locations, when those activities actually will happen. And we found a bunch of things in the schedule right away, even before we linked and everything up, that helped us clarify the scope, helped us clarify what's going to happen when, where, just by having this conversation using this tool. After we went through this process, then we started linking the schedule to the model. There's an existing building on site. This is the old Wilshire Grand Hotel. This was built in 1952, and it's basically coming down piece by piece. Los Angeles did not like the idea of imploding this building downtown, so we're basically demoing this building piece by piece. It was built in 1950. The entire facade is concrete, like 5-inch concrete. It's a pretty massive building. It wasn't designed to be demoed for sure. Yeah. Yes. Oh yes, yeah, definitely. So we're doing 1 year worth of demo, and we have to time the demo so that we can start building the tower. So you're going to see in a second. Basically, the tower is going to be built on this side of the property. So as we're starting our demo, and you're going to see the animation in a second. I didn't want to put in all the slides, but basically we're demoing this side first, and we're starting shoring here at the same time as we're demoing. While we're demoing here, we have to be basically down to the bottom of the grade so that we can start pouring the mat slab. And this mat slab is about I think right now it's designed to be a 16 feet deep mat slab, and our goal is to pour it in one single pour. So it might end up the largest pour in the world, as far as we know, and if we go ahead with it. So the mat slab itself has to be ready. The other conflict and the other thing that we need to really be conscious about is these metro lines. So the underground metro lines are in some areas here are just a few feet away from the edge of the property. We've got to make sure that we shore the soil next to it and make sure that there's no damage or deformation in the metro tube lines here. We have the shoring shown here. We have to coordinate that with all the underground utilities and the tiebacks. and we have to dig a hole that's deep enough for I think eight levels of parking on the ground. So as we start coming up, we're basically going to build a podium and the core and the steel structure that follows. So what really happened here is that what we're looking at right now is these phases of the job. Right now, we're presenting to downtown the LA City Council and making sure that they approve of this approach. So these images and this process is going to play a significant role in making sure that we have the ability to secure the foundation permit on time for us to be able to start the tower and come out of the ground. And we would not be able to do that without having a visual schedule. There's no way we could explain to city council members the complexity that will go into this process and the various risks that we need to make sure we mitigate. So the final tower is going to look something like this, and we have just a quick video of the actual construction process. We're going to start with the demo, and as you can see, it's basically the 1 year worth of demo. We start with the abatement inside the building, and there's a lot of asbestos in there that we need to make sure we can mitigate and remove. Then we're demoing the office tower first, and then we're going to go with the hotel tower. And we're starting with the demo here so that we can make sure that we get down to the bottom of the hole in time for us to pour the mat slab and then get out of the ground quickly. So this is our demo. As we went through this exercise, we made sure that our schedules were published to the bidders and were published to our subcontractors. So when they're now coming on board for the shoring and excavation scope, they have a clear understanding of what's going to happen there. This is the next phase as we go down to the hole and start excavating and shoring. So the shore across the site, and then start the excavations, go down to the bottom of the hole. As we went through this process, the site is sloping, and we immediately picked up discrepancies in the schedule that did not account for some of the slope sites. So some of the activities would not have to happen in certain areas, certain parts of the site, because you're out of the ground as opposed to in the ground. So you have different types of activities that need to happen there. And by using the model together with the schedule, we were able to identify those activities early on, make sure that the schedule logic was maintained. You can see the mat slab being poured and the ramp coming down to the hole. And then we start with our foundation work. And then the final phase is getting the tower built, coming out of the ground, 8 floors of parking, 4 going up, shear walls being built, the podium is erected to finished, and obviously the tower standard is still schematic, so that's something that we're going to be working on in the next year or so to make sure that we have a tower erection plan that is up to the level of detail, showing the formwork, showing the steel operations that need to go on at the same time as we erect the tower itself. So hopefully, when we're done with the project, we might be the highest tower in Los Angeles, but can't say for sure. The project itself is going to have a unique sky lobby on the top. So you can see we just call it the Mohawk on the top. When the guest arrives, they're going to take a express elevator up to the top, and that's where they're going to check in. So the lobby of the hotel is not going to be on the ground floor; it's going to be on the top floor. of the hotel itself. And then they're going to descend to their room as opposed to go up. So obviously some of the benefits that we experienced, production planning coordination up front, being able to communicate our plan to the city, making sure that we mitigate some of the risks, and provide clear access to material, which is going to be key when we go and build this tower. So in summary, we want to start with people, and we want to make sure that we select the right team. We understand who the participants are. And in this case, it was the superintendent, it was the engineer, it's the subcontractors. We want to develop a process first before we implement the tool, develop best practices, understand how certain people will have to interact, set some measurable goals, and then implement the tool. And if some of the features in the tool are not automated right away, we don't get upset. We basically just want to make sure that people have the right conversation in the right meetings, even if it's as simple as just using the spreadsheet first. Then we can automate later some of those processes, because then they will understand why we're doing things as opposed to just having something that the software creates and generates. So, thank you very much.